The velvet box. I met the man on overpass number 9, the walkway connecting the parking structure to the office complex. It was rush hour. Traffic snarled. Horns blared. Nothing unusual, until he passed me, slowed for exactly one step, and placed a dark blue velvet box into my hand. He didn't look at me. He spoke only 5 words, his voice low enough that no one else could hear. "Don't go home tonight." I spun around. The man had already blended into the crowd, as if I had brushed against nothing more than a shadow. The box warmed quickly in my palm. And I was struck by a chilling certainty, that if I made even one wrong choice from this moment on, there would be no second chance. Before I could ask who he was, how he knew my name, or what the hell he was talking about, he turned and walked away. Seconds later, he vanished into the lunchtime crowd as if he had never existed. The box sat on the table, small, silent. But it felt like it was counting down. My name is Michael Reed. I'm 44 years old. 3 months ago, I married the woman I believed was the second great love of my life. After a brutal divorce 6 years earlier, I never thought I'd be brave enough to love again. Then Laura came along, intelligent, charming, successful in medical equipment distribution. She had a way of making me feel like I still mattered. And there was Mia, her 15-year-old daughter. She wasn't cold or rebellious, just cautious and polite. I thought I was lucky to be welcomed into their lives. That afternoon should have been ordinary. Mia had made the school volleyball team. Laura suggested we celebrate with lunch before I returned to my architecture firm. Family. Peace. Until everything collapsed. Laura and Mia went to the restroom. I stayed behind at a table near the window. That was when he appeared. He looked to be in his early 60s, average build, wearing a well-fitted navy suit, neither flashy nor cheap. More like a retired professor than a threat. He walked straight up to me, set the velvet box on the table, met my eyes, and said calmly, too calmly. "You'll need this tonight, Michael. Don't open it unless you're alone. And don't let Laura know you have it." I jumped to my feet, ready to demand answers, but he had already turned away. By the time I looked toward the cafe door, he was gone. Laura and Mia returned, laughing. I instinctively slipped the box into my bag. "You okay?" Laura asked. "You look tense." "Work," I lied. That night, I didn't go back to Laura's house. I went to my old apartment, the one I'd kept since we planned to buy a place together. I needed to be alone. I placed the box on the kitchen table and stared at it for a long time before opening it. Inside were 3 things. A USB drive. A small key. A handwritten note. The handwriting was neat. Cold. Michael. My name is Daniel Whitman. Laura's ex-husband. Mia's father. If you're reading this, I'm either truly dead, or they've convinced the world I am. The USB contains evidence. The key opens locker 418, North Lock Storage, Jefferson Street. You have about 6 hours before Laura tries to kill you. She's done this before. Daniel Whitman, officially declared dead in a boating accident 2 years earlier. I plugged in the USB. Psychiatric medical records for Laura. Personality disorder diagnosis. Doctor's notes documenting manipulation, pathological lying, threats toward partners. Then private investigation reports. Photos. Bank transfers. Life insurance policies taken out in Laura's name, without spousal consent. Daniel's 2 previous husbands. One died in a house fire in 2009. One fell down the stairs, in 2014. Laura collected nearly $3 million in insurance payouts. The final file was a forged death certificate, with a handwritten line beneath it. I faked my death to protect my daughter. I checked the time. 2:52 p.m. If Daniel was telling the truth, I had less than 6 hours left to live. My phone buzzed. "Do you want regular pasta or whole wheat tonight?" Laura asked, her voice as gentle as ever. I answered. I smiled. And I knew I was speaking to someone who had been planning my death for months. I called the number at the bottom of the letter. "You opened the box," the man said. Not a question. Daniel Whitman, the dead man. He explained everything. The accidents. The pattern. Stairs. Alcohol. Carefully staged falls. "Tonight," he said, "she'll try to get you into the basement." I went to the storage locker. Inside were recording devices and hidden cameras, everything streaming live to Daniel. At 6:15 p.m., I arrived at Laura's house. She greeted me with a soft kiss. "Can you grab a bottle of wine from the basement?" The house looked impossibly perfect. Garlic sizzling in olive oil. Tomato sauce simmering. Fresh bread on a wooden board. Anyone walking in would think, good wife, good mother. I once thought that too. Mia was upstairs doing homework. Laura said she wanted to finish early so we could watch a movie together. A perfect family. A perfect evening. And a trap already set. "Could you get the wine?" Laura repeated. "It's in the cellar." That was the first line. "I don't feel like drinking tonight," I said. "I'm tired." A fraction of a second, barely visible, but I saw her jaw tighten. "Oh," Laura said, then smiled. "Then just grab a bottle of sparkling water from downstairs." I forgot to bring one up. Second line. She was adjusting the script. "It's fine," I said, filling a glass from the tap. "This is enough." She watched me drink. Said nothing. But I knew, she was recalculating. Mia came downstairs just then. "I finished my homework," she said. Then looked at me. "Uncle Mike, do you really like documentaries, or do you just watch them for my mom?" I laughed. "I really like them." Laura smiled at her daughter. Everything snapped back into place. Too normal. We ate dinner. I spoke little. Laura spoke just enough. Mia chatted about school. A meal that would look harmless on video. But I noticed everything. How Laura never fully turned her back on me. How she always kept exactly one step of distance. How her eyes flicked toward the basement stairs every time I stood up. As dinner ended, Laura said, "Hey. I think I hear dripping downstairs. I'm worried there's a leak." That was the third line. And the last. The trap. "Not tonight," I said. Laura looked up. "Why not?" "Because I know," I said. The air in the room changed instantly. Mia stopped chewing. "Know what?" I stood. "I know Daniel is alive." Silence. Mia stared at me, not understanding the words. Laura didn't react at first. Then she slowly set down her fork. "What are you talking about, Michael?" "I know about Nathan. Thomas. And the stairs." I met her eyes. "And I know tonight, I was supposed to be next." "So, you know," she said calmly. "Good. I hate pretending for so long." Mia backed away, bumping into the table. "Mom, what are you saying?" Laura didn't look at her. "Do you know why I always chose men without close families?" she said casually. "Because no one misses them." My hands were shaking, but my voice stayed steady. "You killed them." "No," Laura corrected. "I created opportunities. Accidents happen." She stepped toward the basement stairs. "The first step," she said. "The screws are loosened. Just takes a little push." Mia began to cry. "Mom, Please stop. You were never supposed to know, Laura said. If he'd cooperated, it would have been clean. She turned to me. But you were curious. The confession. Laura talked. About the insurance. About the accidents. About Daniel, the only one who nearly escaped. Every word was recorded. I'm better than them, she said without shame. I deserve a good life. I quietly took out my phone. Put it on speaker. 911, what's your emergency? Laura realized too late. She lunged. Dark ending. When I gave the dispatcher our address, I thought it was over. The truth was out. The evidence recorded. Police on the way. I was wrong. Laura didn't scream. She stood still, looking at me, not angry, not afraid, but disappointed, like I'd ruined a song she'd rehearsed for months. You don't understand, she said softly. If the police come here, Mia will never have a normal life. Mia trembled behind me. Mom, please. Laura looked at her daughter. That look. It wasn't a mother's. You know, she said, everything I did was for you. Then everything happened at once. Laura rushed, not at me, but at Mia. I pulled the girl back on instinct. A chair fell. The table slid. Dishes shattered. And then. A dull, final sound from the basement stairs. Laura slipped. Not because of the trap. Not because of the plan. But because of the chaos she created. She fell. No scream. Just the sound of something ending. When police arrived, Laura was still breathing. But she never woke up. Aftermath. The case closed faster than anyone expected. No long trial. No verdict. No public confession. Just thick files, forensic notes, and a final conclusion. Death due to accidental household injury. Daniel, the man who gave me the box, disappeared again. No goodbye. No explanation. Mia entered long-term therapy. She never asked about her mother again. Or her father. As if forgetting was the only way to survive. And me. I no longer believe in happy endings. Because I know that if I'd been 1 minute later. If I hadn't pulled Mia back. If Laura hadn't slipped. The body at the bottom of those stairs. Would have been mine. Epilogue. The blue velvet box is still in my drawer. Empty. I didn't throw it away. Not out of hope. But as a reminder. Some warnings only come once in a lifetime. And not everyone understands them in time. If one day, a stranger places something in your hand and whispers. Don't go home tonight. Stop. Listen. Because sometimes. The truth doesn't come to save everyone. It only comes to choose. Who survives.